Folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. We have a couple of things to talk about that's in the news, maybe not front page, but it's out there. And I want to get into it because I think it's just more indication of what's to come, where we're at and where we're headed. And these are things that we've kind of been talking about here lately. It's just more proof of it. So we'll get into that here just a second. I want to mention to you another prepper event. For those of you that are in the area of this event, you should be aware of it because you might want to attend. This is in the Cumberland Gap National Forest. That's in the tri-state area of Tennessee, Kentucky, and Virginia, kind of where they all meet. If you're in that area, you know what I'm talking about. This is an end-time survival and preparedness camp. And this is a 2-day event, August 13th and 14th. There's no charge to attend. There just is a fee to camp there. It's the campground's fee for camping there, but there's no charge to attend this event. There's going to be speakers there giving demonstrations. There's going to be hands-on survival skills training and tactical training. This is for end times training for what this group is referring to as the remnant. And if you feel that you fall into that and know what we're talking about, then you might be interested. And this email that should be popping up below, that is the person that you need to get a hold of to find out more information about this event, August 13th and 14th at the Cumberland Gap National Forest for a 2-day camp out training event. All right, so let's get on with this. A lot of you probably seeing this because it's been going around the internet for the last day or so. Yesterday, there was a big gas explosion, natural gas explosion at a plant in Oklahoma. This was a pretty big, devastating explosion. I believe they had to do some evacuations in that area. And of course, with all the high prices and the tightness and when it comes to our energy supply of gasoline and natural gas and electricity, this is certainly a big hit. But guess what, folks? This isn't the only thing that's happened. You're all familiar with the burning, mysterious burning down of the food plants all over the country over the last several months. Well, there's also starting to see a real similar pattern, suspiciously similar pattern, when it comes to refineries and pipelines and that kind of thing. There was one just 2 days ago in South Houston. A pipeline there exploded and causing some problems. And there's been a few others, at least 2 or 3 others in the last 30 days where these pipelines have just mysteriously exploded. I've not seen any hardcore official statements as to how and why this has happened, although there is certainly speculation even in the news that this is a result of Russian hacking. And the truth is even if it was confirmed that this was due to Russian hackers, I don't think that our government or news media would actually admit to that. Whether it is government hackers or maybe it's an inside job, the fact is it's so suspicious that all the different areas of our economy and our supply chain that are really struggling really hard. I mean, just barely able to keep their heads above water is also the areas that are being attacked. The food, cattle, food production, and now energy. So again, I hate to sound like I'm some conspiracy wacko, but I guess if the shoe fits, wear it. This just is too much for me to just accept that, well, it's just a coincidence, folks. It's just another pipeline, another, fuel depository of some sort and refinery or, facility. It's just another one. It's just a coincidence. I don't believe that, but I will be honest, I don't have the evidence to prove either way. But I do think it's something that we should be aware of, because if these continue, we're most definitely going to feel the repercussions of it. We're going to see higher prices and shortages increase because that's just kind of common sense. You can't keep having these types of incidences and not see the what transpires because of it. The other thing that I want to hit on that I think is really important and we've been talking about this quite a bit on here, is food shortages, or the coming food shortages, especially when it comes to farming. And I want to specifically talk about the beef industry. But it's not just beef. Okay, this is a little bit of everything, but I'm going to use the beef industry for examples. I've told you how it's, and showed you news articles of how many of the beef farmers and ranchers are seriously considering calling their herds, selling off to their herds, because they can't afford to feed them. Because of all the increased prices of hay and the increased prices of feed and the shortages. It's created and then of course the drought also, especially in the areas that's really being affected by the drought. They can't afford to keep their cattle alive. We've seen supposedly cattle fall over dead in the thousands due to the heat. But the fact is that this is getting pretty serious. I spoke to a local cattle farmer just a few days ago. It was last week. And he told me that he runs, for the Ozarks, a moderate size, production. You have a few hundred head of cattle. And he said he was seriously considering reducing his herd by about half, like now. Because he couldn't afford the hay prices that he was seeing. And he finally was able to work out a deal with a hay farmer that it was low enough that he was able to keep his cattle, but he figures he's pretty much just going to break even this year with the price he's paying to keep the cows alive with the hay, but he's able to retain his entire herd as best as he can figure. But the fact is this is happening everywhere. There's all kinds of news articles out there talking about how farmers are either actively right now selling off large portions of their herd, or they're strongly considering it, because it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. By the end of the summer and fall, the prices to keep cattle alive is going to be really high, and by next year it's going to be even worse. Now, why is this all connected? Because again, I don't believe that this is just a coincidence. There has been a very active agenda to reduce the size of cattle. We all know, according to all the globalists, that the cow farts is one of the biggest causes of all this global warming and all that kind of stuff. In fact, part of the reason why the Netherlands has been rioting so much and had so much problems is because they're wanting to reduce the size of the herd in the Netherlands by like 30 million, and they're wanting to do the same thing in many other European countries, which is why we're seeing more and more European countries, at least the farmers, starting to stand up and protest against this, because it means it's going to be a lot of them been put out of business because they're wanting to reduce the herds. Well, here in America, they're wanting to do the same thing. They're wanting to reduce the herds here. And so I guess the way that they figure they're going to reduce the herds here is maybe, at least not now, by mandating a law forcing farmers to reduce their herds, but at least just making it nearly impossible to maintain the size of your herds. I want to show you this video clip here. This is in Emory, Texas. And so if any of you are in that area, please speak up. Emory, for the rest of you, it's just a tiny little bump in the road in Texas. This video was sent in. I know that it's from Emory, but I can't confirm whether or not this is typical or not. This is cattle farmers lined up to sell their cows at a livestock auction. The person that shared this said that they've never seen this before. They've never seen this many farmers lined up to sell off their cattle. And if this is going to continue to happen, folks, we're going to start seeing less and less meat eventually. We may see a glut of meat in the short term, although I don't expect us to see any reduction of prices. In fact, there's been a lot of farmers complaining about that even though beef prices are really high and there seems to be enough beef out there on the market, the farmers aren't reaping those benefits. It seems to be at the higher levels of the big production companies, the big processing companies, which there's 4 of them that control about 80% of the market in America. And again, this is all just speculation that I'm about to say. But if there's 4 major big companies that are controlling 80% of the market, it would be very easy for someone, say in the head of some political government agency, to try to compel those 4 businesses to keep the prices really high, to make it difficult for people to purchase beef. But the fact is that we're seeing apparently the beginnings of a huge sell-off of beef cattle. And this right here is just beef. I suspect it's going to happen in other areas. We've seen 38 million or more chickens and poultry, killed off this year. We've seen other food plants. There was a major hog production plant that was shut down over in California, without any indication that it was going to be moved to another plant outside of California. They're just shutting it down. So we're going to see more and more restrictions and just higher prices when it comes to beef and it comes to all meat, which is something they want us to get off of. This is part of this World Economic Forum Great Reset thing, where you'll only eat meat occasionally and in small amounts, but you'll eat lots of bugs. That's what they want for us. And that's why I promote all the time in just about every video to be as self-sufficient as possible. And to be honest with you, when you have a piece of property, becoming meat independent is actually one of the easiest things you can do. It's not that hard to raise enough meat for your family so that you don't have to go outside to buy it. Between chickens and other small animals, even if you don't have large acreage to have a whole herd of beef, it doesn't take that much. And I think that that's one of the easiest areas to become completely self-sufficient. And especially if you can do that with other people and kind of, one person raise one type of animal and another one do the other, and then you share or trade or whatever. So that's something that's coming down the pike, folks. We've talked extensively, I have, on this video or on this channel of the push to eat bugs and the push to eat lab-grown meat. And it seems like it's all interesting how that's coming together right at the time where we're seeing farmers greatly downsize the size of their herds because they can't afford to feed them any longer. This is just more of what's coming at us, folks. I hate sounding like a doomsdayer. That's really not it. The fact is things are in fact getting bad. You can't see all this stuff happening and know what has been predicted and know what they have been saying for years that they want to do. The people in charge, the leaders, the globalists, these globalist organizations, they've been saying for years what their intent is, what they want to do. They make it public. And then now we're actually seeing those things happen. And we're seeing the repercussions globally, not just here in our own country, but globally. So I don't see how you can look at it any other way and not realize that things are on a very negative downward path. And that's why we have to start getting serious about our preparedness. Get your houses in order, folks. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.